What happens when divinity meets devotion within the sacred bond of marriage? Discover the extraordinary spiritual journey of Sri Ramakrishna and Sarada Devi in this transformative chapter of their lives. Welcome back to our audiobook series on the life of Sri Ramakrishna. In today's episode, we delve into an intimate and profound chapter where Sri Ramakrishna and his wife, Sarada Devi, embark on a unique spiritual journey. As they navigate the trials of everyday life, their relationship evolves into a divine union, transcending the ordinary and redefining the sacred bond of marriage. Witness how Sri Ramakrishna's divine realizations manifest through his role as a husband and a spiritual guide, and how Sarada Devi blossoms into the revered Holy Mother. Stay tuned to explore this deeply moving and inspiring chapter of their lives. Chapter 10. Finding Divinity in the Wife. As already stated, Sri Ramakrishna became very weak after the attack of dysentery. About the month of May in the year 1867, he started for Kamarpukur, accompanied by Hriday and Biography Brahmani for a change. The master stayed at Kamarpukur for 6 or 7 months. It was a great relaxation for him to enter into the joys and sorrows of the simple village folk after the stormy days of sadhana at Dakshineshwar. Sarada Devi, his girl wife, was then staying with her father at Jairambati. Shortly after Sri Ramakrishna's arrival, she was sent for. So Sarada Devi, or the Holy Mother as she became known later to the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, arrived at Kamarpukur. Here was a chance for Sri Ramakrishna to test his realizations. By allowing the rightful privileges of her position to his wife, who was then a girl of 14, he subjected himself to an ordeal from which he emerged brighter than ever. He took special care that she had an all-round training in the discharge of her household duties. The Holy Mother was charmed with the ideal of pure and selfless love that was shown to her by her saintly husband. She was content to worship him as her Ishtadewa and by following in his footsteps to develop her own character. Sri Ramakrishna trained her not only in spiritual things, but also in mundane matters that would make her an ideal mistress of the household. But the Biography Brahmani did not take kindly to the idea of Sri Ramakrishna's doing his duty towards his wife. Perhaps she feared that this would endanger his celibate life. But the master would not listen to her remonstrances. He remained unruffled and revered her as much as ever. The Brahmani was seized with a sense of false pride, and despite her attainments, she could not control herself. But subsequently, she came to realize her mistakes. She one day approached Sri Ramakrishna with sandal paste and garlands of flowers which she had taken great pains to prepare, and with these adorned him as an incarnation of Sri Chaitanya. She implored his forgiveness and bade farewell to Kamarpukur. Sri Ramakrishna regained his former health as a result of his prolonged stay in the peaceful environs of his native village, and afterwards returned with Hriday to Dakshineshwar. The holy association of Sarada with her God-intoxicated husband at Kamarpukur filled her pure heart with unspeakable delight. Referring to this joy, she said later on, "I used to feel always as if a pitcher full of bliss was placed in my heart. The joy was ineffable." For years passed after that, and she was now a young woman of 18. Wild rumors reached her to the effect that her saintly husband had gone mad. After much thought, she decided to go to Dakshineshwar to see for herself, and reached the place in March 1872 in the company of her father. Sri Ramakrishna bestowed on her as much love and care as he had done previously. He sent her to live in the concert room with his mother, who had already come there to spend the last days of her life by the side of the Ganga. Convinced after a few days' stay at Dakshineshwar that Sri Ramakrishna was unchanged in his attitude towards her, Sarada Devi decided to remain there and give herself over to the service of Sri Ramakrishna and his mother. Sri Ramakrishna now resumed his old task of teaching his wife, testing at the same time his own realization and discharging his duties as a husband. His teaching covered a wide range of subjects from housekeeping to the knowledge of Brahman. Not content with merely giving instructions, he took particular care to see that she carried them out, lovingly correcting any mistake. A couple of months after the Holy Mother's arrival, there arose a curious desire in Ramakrishna's mind, which he lost no time in fulfilling. It was the new moon of June 5th, 1872, an auspicious night for the worship of Kali, and Sri Ramakrishna made special arrangements for it in his own room, instructing the Holy Mother to be present. She went there at 9 p.m. Sri Ramakrishna took the seat of the priest. After the preliminaries were over, he beckoned the Holy Mother to the seat, which was reserved for the goddess. Sarada Devi was in a semi-conscious state. Sri Ramakrishna went through the regular form of worship in which the Holy Mother took the place of the deity. During the ceremony, she passed into samadhi. The master, too, when he had finished the mantras, went into the superconscious state. Priest and goddess were joined in a transcendental union in the self. At dead of night, the master partially recovered consciousness. Then with the appropriate mantra, he surrendered himself and the fruits of his lifelong sadhana, together with his rosary, at the feet of the Holy Mother and saluted her. With this sacred ceremony, called in the Tantras the Shodashi, Puja, or the worship of the Divine Mother Tripurasundari, was finished the long series of Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual practices. One day, Sarada Devi, as she was stroking the master's feet, asked him, "What do you think of me?" Quick came the answer. The mother who is worshipped in the temple is the mother who has given birth to this body and is now living in the concert room, and she again is stroking my feet at this moment. Verily, I always look upon you as the visible representation of the blissful mother. Months passed in this way, but not once did the minds of the divine couple come down to the sense plane. This was possible because both husband and wife had their minds attuned to the infinite. In later days, Sri Ramakrishna complimented Sarada Devi in unequivocal terms. He used to say, "After marriage, I anxiously prayed to the Divine Mother to root out all sense of physical enjoyment from her mind. That my prayer had been granted I knew from my contact with her during this period." In our next episode, we'll take you on a spiritual journey unlike any other as we follow Sri Ramakrishna on his pilgrimage to northern India. This isn't just a physical journey, but a deeply transformative experience that touches the lives of everyone he meets, from poor villagers to revered saints. Discover the divine ecstasies and acts of compassion that marked this significant chapter in his life. Don't miss this incredible episode that showcases the power of spirituality in action. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.